I'm a big fan of tankless water heaters. If they're properly maintained, you're gonna get 20+ years of life out of them, but they need some routine maintenance. Fairly easy to do it yourself. I'm gonna show you in this video all the steps that it takes. We're gonna be doing this on an exterior mounted Rinnai, but today's video is gonna work for you, whether you have a Rinnai, a Takagi, a Rheem, all the brands, and it doesn't matter whether this is mounted inside or out, this video is gonna work for you. Okay, so tankless units, these have a giant gas engine inside, and when that gas fires up and heats that water, there's a small amount of scale that can happen in the unit. The harder your water is and the more that this tankless unit runs, the more that scale is going to build up, and we need to get that scale off. We need to flush them and descale them. Now, if you've got a hard water situation like I do at my house, and I also have a bunch of kids, I do mine every 12 months regularly. If you have a smaller house, 1 or 2 people, you can probably go more like 2 years between this. And if you have a water softener at your house, you can go more like 5 or maybe even 7 years. So at this house, this one's been installed for 18 months now. It's time to flush this unit. If you've gotten a trouble code, sometimes it'll flash a 00 or an L0. That's the time to flush code. This video is going to apply to you as well, but I would highly suggest flushing it before it makes that code. Do it on a regular basis every 12 or 18 months, and you'll never have a problem. This unit's going to last 20+ years. Okay, so today we're going to be using a flow aid kit. This is about 120, 130 bucks on Amazon, and it's gonna include everything you need to flush. You can do it yourself, or you could have a plumber do it, but trust me, it's pretty easy. I'm gonna show you how. Now this kit's gonna include a couple hoses, and these hoses are gonna connect up to the flush couplings here. It's also gonna include a pump, and it's gonna give you a quart size of this flow aid descale. This is what we're gonna pump through the system. It's basically a system that's pumping for about 30 to 45 minutes through the boiler system. It's going to take off all that scale and bring us back to brand new. So let me show you how to do this. First step, take off the power. We're going to unplug the power to this unit since this one's mounted on the outside, and then we're also going to turn off the gas line. Remember, anytime we turn something off, it's going to be perpendicular to the line, so let's turn that off. Next, we're going to turn off the water from and out of the unit. These are nice 90-degree ones the plumbers put on. Good job. And then we're going to open up these flush valves. Now, if you don't have flush valves like this, you're not going to be able to do this process. If you have a tankless unit that was installed maybe 10 years ago, or a plumber wasn't familiar with tankless, and you don't have those, stop the video right here. You got to get a plumber to put these flush valves on you. Hopefully, if you've got a newer unit, they've installed these for you, you're going to be good to go. So what we're going to do is hook the hoses up. The first thing we're going to do is hook up to the hot water side, and that's where the flush is going to come out. And then we're going to supply this flush unit, or this flush solution I should say, through the cold water side. Okay, so then the next thing we're going to do is hook that supply hose on the cold side to the pump. This is a little submersible pump. It's probably a 5th horsepower pump, something like that. And once we get this hose connected to it, it's going to actually sit down inside of the flow aid, and this is what's going to provide the power, the engine, to drive that water through. And then you're going to see I've got about a gallon of water in this bucket right here, and for every gallon of water we're going to add 1 quart of this solution. They make it really easy. You've got a nice see-through side right here. So I'm going to pour 1 quart of this solution. Now if you buy this $20 jug, you're going to get 4 quarts, so you're basically going to get 4 flushes. So, next step, we're going to run the hose from the hot side back into the tank. This is what's going to make that loop for us. And then we're going to open up these valves right here that are going to the flush side. Okay, now we're going to plug the pump in. And that's it. In a second here, you're going to see it pumping through. There we go. See that submersible pump? All it's doing is just taking that flow aid, and now we're just cycling it through the system. It tells you on the directions 30 to 45 minutes. I would recommend probably doing it on the higher side of that. You're only going to do this every 1 to 2 years. You might as well run it for 45 minutes. No big deal. Time to take a break. I'll be back in 45 minutes. Okay, it's been running for 45 minutes. We just unplugged this pump. And remember, we flushed this with 45 minutes worth of that fluid to loosen up all the debris inside the tank. So there's two final steps now that are critical. Number one, we want to blow some water, just some standard street water through this tank. That way anything that's loose is going to be flushed out. And then number two, we want to check the filter coming in on this unit. So let me show you how to do those two. Okay, now we're going to turn off the isolation valve on the cold water side. In fact, we can go ahead and disconnect the hose. That was the pump. It was pumping the solution in. And then we're going to go ahead and turn on the cold side. And now you can see we want to take this out of the bucket. What we're doing now is we're just flushing street water through. The unit's not going to fire up. There's no gas and there's no electricity to it. And all this is doing is this is just taking a jet stream of water through the tankless boiler system without it firing up. We want to run this for about 2 minutes. This is just going to flush out any impurities that maybe got a little bit loose. For the sake of time, I'm not going to do this for the full 2 minutes, but you get the picture here. Pretty straightforward. Okay, once we do that, we can disconnect the hoses. All right, now last step. Everything's still off right now. I'm going to put the water back off to the unit. So everything's off. Now let's pull this filter out here. This filter is right underneath. It's sometimes hand tight, sometimes you're gonna need your little Leatherman tool, and then we're gonna pull that filter out. This is a little bit of a circular stainless filter. You can see there's just a little bit of junk in there. We're gonna clean that out. You can blow it out or you could run it into your faucet. And this is just cleaning the inlet water coming from the street to make sure no garbage is getting into the tank. Once that's been cleaned, we're gonna pop it back on the unit. Okay, now it's time to put the unit back on. So we're gonna reverse all the steps. Both the isolation valves are turned off. We're gonna turn on the cold. We're gonna turn on the hot. Remember, all these valves are gonna be in line when they're on, perpendicular when they're off. Now we can turn on the gas. And the final step, plug the unit back in. We've got our plug right here on the outside, makes it easy. That's it, guys. This unit's ready to go. It'll be another 18 months before I suggest this one get flushed again. Remember, this is super easy, but it's vital. This unit's gonna last 20 years if we flush this on a regular basis. If we don't, we're gonna have premature failure, and we're gonna flush all that junk into our system, which is a huge pain. So don't neglect this. There'll be a link in the description below for to buy this pump set system, or you can make your own and save a couple bucks. I'll also have a parts list there for you if you want to do that. You could also buy these from the local hardware store, so you don't necessarily have to get them here. Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll see you next time.